Good quality hot dogs deserve sourdough buns. Warm milk, 480 grams, 75 grams of sugar, and 300 grams of ripe sourdough starter. We need that warm milk to feed the starter. Using milk instead of water helps make these buns soft. 600 grams of bread flour and 200 grams of yellow durum flour are going to give these buns a nice color. If you can't get fine durum flour, just use all bread flour. Durum flour is high gluten, just like bread flour. It just gives this bread a nice color. No matter what you're using for flour, always give it time to hydrate first. Not only has that flour soaked everything up, but that sourdough fermentation has started. So you can add your 11 grams of salt and 80 grams of really soft butter. If your butter's not soft enough, you're never going to incorporate it. And keep the mixer speed kind of low. We want to work in that butter first. Use a spatula to help it along. The butter's going to help make this bread rich and keep it soft along with the milk. Keep your mixer on low and let it go for another 5 minutes. Honestly, that dough is f***ing beautiful. Sourdough needs time for the flavor to develop. This is going in the fridge overnight, but you can leave it on the counter and rush it. Just wait until it doubles. The sourdough's done its work, and now it's time to do ours. This recipe makes 16 buns, about 107 grams a piece. 109 will work. This is a two-step process. First, we got to get everybody the same shape to start with. So these are all going into a ball. Shaping hot dog buns is no problem. Just remember that they're longer than they are wide. So you want to roll them out this way. Then we fold in the ends and the two sides. But before we close these up, these buns are getting a little caraway seed and celery seeds right in the bun before we close them up and seal them. These are going seam side down in 2 rows of 8. This oven has a proofing setting, a warm environment for these to rise. But we want that environment to be moist too. So I'm adding a pan of water and giving it a couple spritzes. If your oven doesn't have a proofing setting, you could just proof these on the counter, or you could rush it along like I do with a heating pad and a plastic container. Regardless of how you proof, it's going to take a minute. You put a lot of butter in that sourdough. These get baked at 350. We got to give it time for the heat to penetrate all the way through. Just remember to spin it in 15. 30 minutes total with that spin in between. But you're not done yet. You want to brush these with butter. Not only does it taste good, but it helps keep them nice for the next day or two. But don't touch them just yet. They're actually still cooking. This is the whole reason you make these buns. So you can pull them apart and butter the sides. Having those sides means you can griddle them. Of course, you got to cut your own spot for your hot dog and then griddle them. And use a press just like the diners do. Yeah, that's why we did this whole thing. That's exactly why. That's going to be f***ing good. That's not shitty white bread. That's nice sandwich bread. More like what you want for sauerkraut and a quality hot dog. And mustard. Gotta have mustard. And if you're lucky, maybe you have some of that rhubarb relish left from earlier in the season. Of course, that needs mustard too.
Get my mouth around it. That dresses that hot dog right up with that fancy bun, doesn't it? So good. That's a bougie glizzy.
It's more like a hot dog sandwich.
And the caraway seed and the celery seed comes right through in that bun.
With that sourdough bun, that's more like a deli sandwich than it is a hot dog.
Huh. Sourdough hot dog bun.